On February 5, 1985, in the poverty-stricken neighborhood of Santo Antonio in Funchal, Madeira, a child was born who was never supposed to exist. Maria Dolores dos Santos Aveiro was already a mother to 3 children, drowning in severe financial strain. Her husband, José Dinis Aveiro, was a traumatized veteran of the Portuguese colonial wars who had turned to severe alcoholism to cope with his mental scars. Desperate, Maria visited a doctor asking to abort the pregnancy. The doctor refused. She returned home, drank warm beer, and ran until she was exhausted, hoping to force a miscarriage. But the boy in her womb was stubborn. He clung to life. He was born healthy, and they named him Cristiano Ronaldo, the second name a nod to his father's favorite American actor, Ronald Reagan. Growing up on the volcanic island of Madeira meant living in a cramped, tin-roofed shack where the rain leaked through the ceilings. Money was so scarce that meat was a luxury. Their meals consisted mostly of bread and vegetable soup. Cristiano's escape from the claustrophobia of poverty was concrete and dirt. By age 7, he was playing street football in the Quinta do Falcão neighborhood. He didn't have real leather footballs. He played with wrapped socks or plastic bottles if nothing else was available. His father worked part-time as a kit man for a local amateur club called Andorinha. This gave young Cristiano access to real pitches. On the field, his talent was blinding, but his emotional fragility was equally apparent. His childhood peers nicknamed him Abelhinha, Little B, because he never stopped buzzing across the pitch, but they also called him Carreo, Crybaby. If a teammate didn't pass him the ball, or if he missed a shot, tears would stream down his face. Yet, his obsession was terrifying. He would skip family dinners, climbing out of bedroom windows with a ball tucked under his arm, to play under the dim amber glow of streetlights until midnight. By 1995, his reputation caught the attention of CD Nacional, the island's biggest club. He signed for them in exchange for 2 years' worth of playing kits and footballs for Andorinha. Within 2 years, it was clear that the island of Madeira was far too small to hold a talent so immense. At just 12 years old, Cristiano Ronaldo packed a single battered suitcase and left his family behind to board a flight to the mainland. Sporting CP, one of Portugal's elite football academies, had agreed to wipe out a debt owed by Nacional in exchange for this prodigy. Landing in Lisbon, the young boy was hit by a paralyzing wave of homesickness. He spoke with a thick, heavy Madeiran accent that his mainland teammates ruthlessly mocked. Every night, Ronaldo cried himself to sleep in his small dormitory room, begging his mother over payphones to let him come home. He felt entirely alone in a concrete jungle. But on the training pitches of Alcaquete, the crying stopped. Ronaldo realized his skinny frame was a liability against larger defenders, so he sneaked into the academy gym late at night. When coaches locked the gym, he tied heavy weights to his ankles and sprinted up steep Lisbon hills, or dribbled through the shadows using the flashing streetlights to test his reaction speed. His dedication was legendary, but at age 15, tragedy struck. During a routine medical screening, club doctors discovered that Ronaldo had tachycardia, a condition where his heart raced dangerously even while resting. Playing football under such conditions carried a risk of sudden cardiac arrest. His mother was flown from Madeira to sign emergency medical consent forms. Ronaldo underwent a highly delicate laser surgery to cauterize the malfunctioning pathways in his heart. The operation was successful. Proving the supernatural drive that would define his entire life, Ronaldo was discharged from the hospital the next day and was back on the training pitch less than 72 hours later. By 17, he became the first player in sporting history to play for the under-16, under-17, under-18, B team, and first team all within a single season. On October 7, 2002, he made his prime debut, scoring 2 goals against Moreirense. The world was officially watching. August 6, 2003, is a date etched into football folklore. Sporting Lisbon hosted Manchester United for a pre-season friendly to inaugurate the Estadio José Alvalade. A 19-year-old Ronaldo, sporting blonde highlights and a mouthful of braces, started on the left wing. Throughout 90 minutes, he terrorized United's legendary right-back Gary Neville with a blur of stepovers, raw pace, and elastic changes of direction. In the dressing room at halftime, a dizzy Neville reportedly told coach Sir Alex Ferguson, "Boss, we have to sign this boy." On the plane ride back to England, United players pleaded with Ferguson to buy him. Ferguson simply smiled. He had already closed the deal. Manchester United paid £12.24 million for the teenager, making him the most expensive teenager in English football history. Upon arrival, Ronaldo asked for the number 28 jersey he wore at Sporting, fearing the pressure of United's legendary history. Ferguson looked him in the eye and said, "No. You will wear the number 7. It was the jersey worn by George Best, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham. The pressure was suffocating. Ronaldo made his debut at Old Trafford against Bolton Wanderers, coming off the bench to a standing ovation, dazzling the crowd with his trickery. However, his early years in England were not without friction. Premier League defenders targeted him with brutal, bone-crunching tackles, view his stepovers as arrogant showboating. His own teammates, including Ruud van Nistelrooy, grew deeply frustrated with his tendency to over-dribble rather than pass. Ronaldo was a rough diamond, unbelievably talented, but lacking discipline. Sir Alex Ferguson stepped in as a surrogate father figure, implementing a tough love system. He instructed coaching staff to turn a blind eye to fouls against Ronaldo during training matches to harden his resolve. Ronaldo stopped crying. He began fighting back. But Sir Alex Ferguson intervened, convincing him that the best revenge was dominance. Ronaldo returned to England to face a wall of boos and whistles at every stadium. Instead of breaking, he thrived. He transformed his body into a muscular powerhouse and refined his shooting technique, developing the famous knuckleball free kick that defied physics. The 2007 to 2008 season became his masterpiece. He scored an astonishing 42 goals across all competitions. He led Manchester United to a Premier League title and scored a towering header in the UEFA Champions League final in Moscow against Chelsea, which United won on penalties. At just 23 years old, the skinny boy from Madeira had conquered the footballing world, winning his very first Ballon d'Or in 2008. Yet, amidst this professional triumph lay a deep, personal sorrow. In 2005, his father, José Diniz, had died of liver failure brought on by alcoholism. Ronaldo had tried to fly his father to the best clinics in Europe, but the damage was irreversible. On his father's deathbed, Ronaldo made a solemn vow. He would become the greatest football player to ever walk the earth, ensuring the family name would live forever. With nothing left to prove in England, he set his sights on his ultimate dream, Spain. On July 6, 2009, an unprecedented crowd of 80,000 screaming fans packed the Santiago Bernabéu Stadium in Madrid. They weren't there for a match. They were there simply to see a man walk out in a white shirt. Real Madrid had shattered the global transfer record, paying a staggering €94 million to pry Ronaldo away from Manchester United. Standing on the stage, overwhelmed by the chant of "Hala Madrid," echoing from the rafters, Ronaldo realized his life had entered a hyper-competitive new reality. This move coincided with the rise of Pep Guardiola's iconic Barcelona, led by a quiet, diminutive Argentine named Lionel Messi. The stage was set for the greatest individual rivalry in sporting history. Ronaldo's transition to Spain was explosive. He scored 33 goals in his debut season, but Real Madrid finished empty-handed, utterly dominated by Barcelona's tiki-taka machine. This failure deeply frustrated Ronaldo, sparking an obsessive training routine that became legendary. He would arrive at the Valdebebas training ground 2 hours before anyone else and leave 2 hours after. He began sleeping in 5 separate 90-minute cycles throughout the day, guided by sleep scientists, and installed a cryotherapy chamber in his home to freeze his muscles at 160 degrees Celsius for rapid recovery. The arrival of manager José Mourinho in 2010 provided Real Madrid with the tactical steel needed to fight back. The 2011 to 2012 season became a war of attrition. Ronaldo scored a jaw-dropping 46 league goals. The The climax came at the Camp Nou in April 2012. With the league title on the line, Ronaldo latched onto a through ball, rounded the keeper, and scored the winning goal. He turned to the hostile Barcelona crowd of 90,000, gesturing calmly with his hands, uttering the iconic phrase, "Calma, calma, calm down, I am here." Real Madrid won La Liga with a record 100 points, breaking Barcelona's domestic monopoly.